Hello there. Today I'm showcasing my live setup for monitoring that I use to control the different levels in the monitoring mix on the stage while I'm playing. Until 2019 I was only using basic click track and the synth track of our live production coming to my ears through just a simple MP3 player. But for 2019 we updated our live system and live rig to a little bit more sophisticated live monitoring system. I think in 2015 when we were doing reality illusion live gigs, I wasn't basically using any kind of a system basically to enhance, for example, hearing the bass drums to my monitoring mix. I was just relying on the stage monitors. And the first update to this was that I got triggers by on trigger to my bass drums, which basically registers each of my pedal hits. From the pedal there's a sensor trigger, which then takes sound from Roland module and it plays to my ear through my InEar system. On our live shows I'm basically controlling when the song starts. I have 4 channels that I'm able to control through this mixer of mine. And they are the monitoring mix of the other band and the other mics of my drum set. And I'm controlling through this mixer 4 tracks directed to me independently from the front of the house mix that goes to the front of the house and the rest of the guys. I have these analog knobs which allows me on the fly to switch and tweak the levels if needed as I play. And I have the monitoring mix, which is basically a whole band mix of all the guitars, vocals, synths and everything the way I want their levels to be through this app of X32. And then I have the click separately for myself, so I make sure that I'm also able to hear the click, because if I miss the click, the whole production and the whole song goes off. So it's really important that I have the control of the click level to my ear. Then I have separately the trigger sound for my bass drum, which basically secures that I will always have in my ears the bass drums on the level that I want them to be heard. And then I also have the HD level, which is basically the synths, the backing tracks, and also that I'm able to tweak through these analog knobs of this little mixer. And then from the little mixer comes this cord to my in-ears, which is basically allowing me to have this whole system, through which I'm able to basically hear this whole set. I also built this little case which basically holds the little mixer and all the cables needed to it, and also these DI boxes that the sound signal goes to from the iPad, from the player that I'm controlling the tracks. And basically through this DI box there's a through channel that takes basically the signal untouched to the front of the house and from the other end to my little mixer. And I made these little custom kind of small tweaks to the cables, which was quite a big task to figure out the routings. And I used my French machine shop coupons who did a great job of like switching these ends to these 90-degree angle plugs. So everything fits into this one case, which I bought from Claes Olsson. And then I made these slots for each of these elements, so I'm able to put all the stuff that I need to take with me on a live gig and open it kind of like this turnkey solution. At least that's the goal. And the part which I think at least requires still improvement is this iPad system that I'm having. And I built this basically in lack of money. I needed just some kind of system to control the monitoring mix of myself and also to control the backing tracks that go to the front of the house and the band. And in that situation I didn't have much money, but I had this iPad and I figured out that there's this app which is able to basically tie together multiple audio files. And if you use this CameraUSB adapter, you are able to get 2 stereo signals out of the iPad. But then once I bought this and brought it to the rehearsal room, I figured out that there's some really tricky order that you need to plug all these things in, because once you have it set up and working, it stops to work if something goes off. And so you need to do this in a certain order and then it works. But you need to basically know this, or then once you start playing, one of the tracks is basically missing. So this is basically a setup which is a little bit hazardous if you don't know and remember exactly in which order you want to do this. But in this setup I really appreciate and like the aspect that I have these analog knobs for these 4 channels that allows me to have this control if needed. Basically in the middle of a song when playing live, I have at least a chance to a little bit tweak them versus touching some kind of pad or doing some kind of difficult task, because you really need to pay attention to the actual thing, which is the playing drums in the live gig. Once you are a drummer in control of the click tracks and everybody's playing along, if you fuck it up, everything gets fucked up. You need to cancel basically the synths and things like this if you want to basically play the song to the end, if you miss the beat and get lost. I think that's about it for this setup now. Let me know in the comments what you thought about this. I will put link of all these items to the description, and let me know some recommendations how to maybe replace this little mixer and these DI boxes to something more simple, but I would really like to maintain the control of these small knobs for these different channels rather than using some like touchscreen or some like a difficult switching system. I would like to keep it simple. 4 knobs, I'm able to tweak the levels if needed, and that's it. This allows me to do it. The player part is a little bit tricky and a little bit unreliable. So also if you have recommendations for this player part, be sure to let me know. Or something, if there's some solution that combines these both, let me know in the comments. I really want to improve this aspect as well, but at least now I have this, at least something which enables me to do the things properly if done in the right order. But it's a DIY. Okay, so that's it. Let me know in the comments what you thought about this and give me those recommendations. Like this video if you liked it. Be sure to subscribe. New videos coming soon. Until then, guys. Bye. To these 90-degree angle plugs, to these kind of like L angle, to these 90-degree angle ends.